Yes, everybody, welcome back. My name's Stephen Howson. Why are you here again?
Don't know.
Thanks. Joe's actually got the Rona.
You know what's funny though? The way that Joe went on for a large majority of early COVID was that if he got corona, he was a goner.
Yeah, and he's had it like a week now, and he's fine.
And he's been perfectly fine.
Like our sign.
Fucking beautiful.
Sick, ain't it?
It's beautiful, lads. Nice.
This
and
is the
snazzy.
fixture list.
Nice couch.
Different vibe, innit?
Different vibe. I don't know. I feel like almost too comfortable.
Do you know what it feels like? I feel like I'm on Graham Norton's chat show. Here to promote my book.
I feel like I've always got too much space.
Well, we got a double sofa for when we bring guests in. So I would like to bring in, like on a fixture list, we talk to people about racing. We bring experts in from the sports that we don't have a clue about. That's that spot next to you. So that's what we're going to be bringing in. But
Do you like it? Do you like the?
yeah. Do you like the new
like
set?
the set?
Let me know in the
I
comments.
think it's proper snazzy.
Sick, innit?
Wait, is that wall? Oh, this debate was a bit long. Is it actually black?
It's just a wall, Ronnie. Right?
Okay.
Don't need to bring that into it. Right then, so there is something happening this week that we do know about, and that is the soccer. So let's talk about the soccer. The Barclays is back, baby. Starts tomorrow night. Brentford against Arsenal, and we're going to find out who is the fourth best team in London.
Don't know about the soccer, but I know the football starts tomorrow. And that is Brentford and Arsenal. And I was kind of saying to you earlier in the week, I thought Brentford could be quite dangerous this season. You can never count on Arsenal making you laugh.
What did you say before? Let's hope Arsenal make us laugh from the off.
Please, Arsenal, make us laugh straight away. Like, listen.
Oh, the
please.
potential. The potential's here,
It's the
innit?
perfect start. A lot of people look at it as everyone loves to see Arsenal lose, right? Well, I love it anyway. And you'd have thought that they'd get a decent, tough game to start, so they definitely lose. They get Brentford, newly promoted side. People would think that's pretty much a shoo-in for Arsenal.
Is it hell?
But it's actually the perfect fixture, with it being the first game of the season, for Arsenal to go and lose it, continue their 5-6 years streak of banter club era. And it sets everyone in a good mood going into the weekend, knowing that Arsenal have already made us laugh and already amused us.
That's it. The weekend has got a potential for a perfect start, hasn't it? We could have Arsenal give us the reminder that,
Yeah.
And then you could have United beat Leeds at the lunchtime kickoff on the Saturday.
Beautiful.
And then we're in, aren't we?
And then we
Saturday night out, last Saturday night out, hopefully, before the start of the season. Our season starts on the 21st.
Yes. Are the fixtures Sundays now?
No. We've just been playing Sundays because of the cup that we was in. No, we're still on Saturdays. Still on Saturday. We got promoted. We didn't mention that. We had talked a little bit about this on the podcast yesterday, but we got promoted to the Premier Division, so...
It's looking lively.
Tough old league.
It's looking good for us, but United is the focus, and I'm thinking Leeds. It's not going to be.
So let's talk about United and Leeds then. Obviously, this fixture last season we saw United score 6 goals, or we didn't. We saw it on telly, but United scored 6 goals,
followed by 0-0.
But it was a great performance. Now, do you think that Bielsa's learned anything from that? Because he had a couple of these dickens in him last season where I think he almost doesn't care. He's so sold on his own principles, which on one hand you got to admire, on the other hand you go, mate, if you had a plan B, you'd probably be challenging for stuff.
It's true. What we do know about Leeds is when we watched him, they're really expansive, innit? Got Bielsa, who's a bit of a nutter. He kind of tinkers with formations, like angles, the kind of way, just the kind of job description almost that he gives to each player. It's basically run as much as you can and try and win. Keep the ball. People say that I think they had the 4th most possession last season, the football inside. But in terms of their pass accuracy, it was really bad. So I was kind of thinking, is it one of them where they hold on to the ball quite a lot, they give it away quite a lot, but they're just one of them where they win it back quite often. So it's a confusing team. They did finish 9th.
It's because, I think, my opinion at least on it is, like you've got a couple of teams that will hold possession in certain areas. Now, for me, Liverpool hold possession along their back line, certainly when Van Dijk plays, because he's a good ball player. So they like him to conduct their playmaking's 10 yards further back. Manchester City hold it in their midfield, the likes of De Bruyne and their fullbacks. That's where you'll see the most of the ball playing happening. That's where they hold their possession. And I think Leeds don't necessarily hold any line of possession. I think they hold possession as a unit, as a team. But because they haven't got like that safety net line that they revert to that horseshoe of possession, because Bielsa's constantly looking to move and constantly looking to try to exploit, I think that they're playing those risky passes. It's the same as like people go, oh, Bruno had like 20 times he gave the ball away. Yeah, but 20 times he tried to make a goal happen.
Yes.
So sometimes that's what happens is you can't play a safe pass and score a goal from it. Like there has to be an element of risk for it to drag someone out of position, for it to outfox a defender. That's why we like those exciting players, because they're able to pull off what is necessarily a risky manoeuvre. And I think Leeds just play, yes, they hold possession, but I don't think they have possession for no reason, which I think Pep has been guilty of at times. I think they've always got a purpose to their possession.
In a weird sense, I almost think, looking at the data, that Leeds' possession stats might be more representative of their defensive work rather than... As I said, I think they could give the ball away.
Off you.
I think they just take it back off teams quite often. They might keep the ball a bit, give it away again, but they just have that, Bielsa's got that high intensity pressing game where they win it back straight away and they love it. I think they just win the ball back fairly quick, so they don't let teams settle on the ball. But as we saw when we beat them 6-2, is that when you bypass their press, they're extremely vulnerable and they can be got at. Players get dragged out of position. They're all over the place a little bit. Daniel James had a bit of a worldie in that game as well.
Pace, because he's always going to play a high line. He's never going to try and low block you. It's not in his nature. And I honestly don't... He's so old now as well. And that's not a negative thing. He's just old. It's just a fact. He's so old that he ain't ever changing his philosophy. Who are you? I think he would literally rather get relegated than change his formation. Or not change his philosophy. Because formations change, but philosophies don't. And I think he would rather be relegated and sacked than... I think he gives more of a shit about staying true to what he sees as being the way to play football than he does as winning any in particular game. Unrealistically, they came as a newly promoted side and they finished 9th.
Yeah. So, decent.
Was it 9th they finished, or was it 10th?
I believe it was just
9th. Them and Arsenal was going head to head, weren't they?
I'm being honest, I believe it was 9th. I'm pretty sure it was 9th.
It was 9th or
10th.
Yeah.
Tomato.
So it was impressive.
It was impressive from...
Because it's a championship side, minus like Rafinha and maybe including or even except
Rodrigo. They built on it a little bit. Calvin Phillips is definitely a Premier League player. You're right, they've got like the championship players like Stuart Dallas and Jack Howson. I think it says a lot about the system that they play and Bielsa, but I think it's one of them where you said, does Bielsa adjust? I think he definitely adjusted when he played us the second time around. Maybe he doesn't adjust in the grand scheme of things, but maybe he adjusts in terms of the team he's playing. If any good manager's been beaten 6-2 by a team, they're going to make changes going into the second time that they play them. And I think they shut up shop a little bit. I don't think they low blocked it, so to speak, but I just think the game was a little bit more competitive. It ended up being 0-0. There weren't that much quality in that game. So...
I also think this Leeds team as well, they did well because they've got a full week to prepare, and I think Bielsa's level of training, I know he did bits with Bilbao and got them into Europe and stuff like that, but I think this Leeds team, because of the lacking quality, I mean, he had like Llorente and Herrera, he had real players in that. I think this Leeds team, if it had managed to sneak into Europe, I think it'd decimate them. I don't think that you could play the intensity Bielsa wants you to play Tuesday, Sunday, or Thursday, Sunday. I think it'd kill you.
I think you need squad depth. You think Bielsa ever got to like Leeds, get to European football?
Give him the City team.
You rate him that highly?
Give him this PSG team.
It wouldn't work. Too many prima donnas to kind of play the way he wants to play.
Probably, yeah. They can work though.
I don't think much management's required for when you got that calibre of players.
No, I think you can only fuck this up. I think Poch can only fuck up PSG. I don't think he can get any praise for winning anything with this team. I think he can only fuck it up.
Honestly, as you'd say, I think when it comes to having that kind of talent within a first 11 or squad, as a manager, your sole role is just keeping everyone happy and confident.
Correct.
Which is a large part of management, which is the man management side.
And
But-
obviously picking an 11, that's not mental.
Yes.
Because I do think they could easily pick a 2 attacking team and get beat.
Yes. Maybe they try and outscore you, though.
Listen, I got some breaking news, mate.
News that's broke. Cool.
Breaking news. Now, you might know, you might not know. But do you know what this is?
That is Manscaped.
That is Manscaped. And this, my friend, I'm about to tell you, is a Lawn Mower 4.0. Not your 1.0, not your 2.0, not your 3.0, 4.0 from Manscaped. It's got all the stuff that you liked about it already, and we've also got stuff like this. Crop Reviver. Crop Reserver, that is deodorant for your balls. Now, not a lot of people want to talk about the balls, but that is deodorant for your balls. If you want one of these little packs, your balls will thank you. Now I'm going to give you the read. I'm going to tell you exactly what's in this little box here. In fact, you can have a little play with that and see what's in there.
Yeah, I definitely want to have a little play.
So, 2 million men worldwide trust Manscaped, and I've got an exclusive offer for you, and it's 20% off, and that's with free shipping, and you can use this code fixture20 at manscaped.com. And like we did last week, if you're interested, I'll give away for some free Paddock shirts. This way, I'll do the away shirt this time. For the first 5 people that get into my DMs on Instagram, show me the screenshot of your receipt and show me that you've used the code Fixture20. So use Fixture20 at checkout and show me that you've bought one of these. Now, we are one of the first people to try the new 4.0.
We have.
It looks smooth as well.
It's a beautiful device.
What makes this trimmer better than all the other ball trimmers out there? I'll tell you. So it's got a new multifunction on and off switch, and that can engage a travel lock, so it's created for people who like to travel. Check that out. The Lawn Mower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn on the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when you need a more precise shave. I've already said, the LED don't do it for me. I don't need an LED. I do my sack in a well-lit room.
I honestly, I don't get your kind of crux with that. I think the LED light's it's a perfect perk, so to speak. I think it's got that
unnecessary for me.
It's not unnecessary because I believe the extra lighting, the extra glow, the extra appeal could be the difference between an incident and a not.
Okay, I'm hearing you, but there you go. So looks-wise, obviously it's sleek. It's two-tone matte and gloss finish, and it's got the hot foil stamped black chrome Manscaped logo. Show that mower off loud and proud.
That is
as you're digging into the charger. So this optimized 4.0 mower trimmer is waterproof. You can take it in the shower. You don't have to worry about making a mess on the bathroom floor. Also, check this out, wireless charging. Wireless charging.
Look at the extra accessories on this.
And also, if you're still trimming your face with your ball trimmer, it's time to make some changes. Like I said though, I do my mustache, but I've got like 3 of these now, so I'm chilling. I've got face ones and I've got sack ones. So as I said, 20% off. 20% off, you get it for 20% less. And you're gonna get free shipping if you use the code Fixture20 at manscaped.com. That's Fixture20 off at manscaped.com. Use the code Fixture20, and like I said, first 5 people to hit my DMs, like some of you did last week, are going to get the Paddock away shirt. So link for that is in the description. Nice one. So then, is the rest of the fixtures for this weekend in the Zip Premier League. Obviously, United are playing Leeds. You've got Brentford against the Banter FC on Friday night. Leicester against Wolves could be an interesting one. The post-Nuno Wolves era.
After he's taken, who's responsible for Wolves' recruitment in terms of the kind of Portugal?
I think it's Mendes. As an agent, just going, you're having him, and he's gone, okay.
It's going to be interesting because a lot of people thought it went a little bit stale with Nuno, and the players that they actually have.
He did well.
They've got did well. I feel like Wolves, if you look at them player for player, have a very, very good side.
They lost Doherty, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they were that good. I think people are overestimating how good they were because they got high up in the table. They had some good players. Neves, Moutinho, obviously. I believe they could step up and play for United, probably. But I also think that they've brought in some good players, but the whole squad and the depth certainly ain't there. But you also lose Jimenez and you lose Jota. You're going to notice that.
Pedro Neto.
Yeah, you'd notice in this.
Pedro Neto's probably their best player. Pedro Neto was on a trajectory where he was going to end up, do you reckon he will end up at Liverpool this summer?
Not sure, to be honest, no. I don't think Liverpool can spend.
Where would he have gone? Because I don't think he was staying at Wolves. The trajectory was on 20 playing like that.
No. I don't know. It could
Arsenal,
go anywhere.
probably.
Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal was I'm actually glad, but he's injured at the moment. Pretty serious injury he got as well. So he's out for a few months. So it's one of them where, if you're looking at it as a Wolves squad, they've lost Jota, like you said. Jimenez with his head, was it a fracture he got? He fractured his skull. Yeah, proper scary. So you don't know how he's going to kind of return. They haven't got Neto, as we've just mentioned. They have Traore, and I know the man you're a big fan of. But I think Leicester and Wolves, Leicester will be huge favourites in that. Just judging off the way Leicester look. Leicester look like a strong outfit. I know that they probably played their strongest side against City's not so strong team. But I'm just looking at their new signings they've brought in, the depth that they have now.
Confidence as well.
Confidence.
The Charity Shield, like I think the Leicester admin was replying to some City fans saying, "Oh, it's a quadruple when you lot won it, but now it's not a cup."
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's a cup, but if you're counting it as an honour, it is an honour, I guess. At the end of the day, I mean, I wouldn't be like Jose saying it was 3 or, it's just a Community Shield. It's nothing crazy, but if you're calling it a cup, you're calling it a cup, aren't you?
Exactly. And the only way you can get into the Community Shield is from
win the league or the FA Cup.
Win the league or the FA
So you've got to do something to get there.
Got to do something.
Chelsea are playing Palace.
Chelsea, something
with Lukaku.
With Lukaku, something we've got to keep an eye on, because it was well spoken about. Werner massively underperforming his XG. He had some of the most big chances missed in the league last season.
I think since Tuchel came in, Chelsea created the most chances in the league by a way.
They literally had a perfect team in terms of the way they were playing, especially the latter stages with Tuchel, and he just didn't have that one finisher. And if they did...
Isn't it annoying when you see a team and you go, they could be sick if they only had her, and then they went and get it? Now, we've obviously needed a right winger, DM, a centre-half, all sorts of stuff, and we got 2 out of 3 and we're buzzing.
Roman don't mess about though, doesn't he?
He's like, what do you need? Centre-forward. Yeah, go get that fella from Inter.
Don't matter the price.
Doesn't matter the price. They are a threat. Now, obviously, Lukaku knows the Prem. No settling in time needed there. I think they're a threat.
They're a massive threat. You know what's funny about Roman? It's like, they had that transfer ban, didn't they, Chelsea? And it's almost like he had withdrawal. Roman Abramovich from like big spend. And remember what he did the first summer where he could actually spend. He went, spent over like 200 mil.
Yeah.
But they are a threat because it's just they don't really have any weaknesses. I'm so glad.
It's the midfield, mate. Like you go, oh Kante, oh Jorginho.
Yeah.
And then, even like Kovacic.
I'm a bit.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm a big fan of Kovacic. I think he's a baller. Just watching him as a football standpoint.
Even some of the also runs that they've got in midfield. Mason Mount and he's not an also ran, but like just some of the depth of talent that they've got is embarrassing. And you go, we're still fucking about with Freddie McTominay. Cool, all right.
I'm so glad Hakimi never went there because he was out of PSG and because they play that 3 at the back system. They were playing Aspilicueta as that third centre-half on the right. And they was looking at putting Reece James there instead, which would be an upgrade. And then right wing-back, Hakimi.
Ooh.
Left wing-back,
Dutty.
Chilwell. It just looks scary. And then you've got front 3, you've got Havertz to choose from, Werner, Lukaku.
Yeah, and behind that, you're going to have Pulisic, you're going to have
Ziyech. Jesus.
Yep. So... hell of a team. I think they're going to be fair. I'll get through the rest of the fixtures. Sunday is Spurs versus City. You've got Norwich versus Liverpool on the Saturday. Harry Kane going to be... I don't think he'll be getting done this weekend. I don't think. Although that Lukaku one moved fast, didn't it? You think they're waiting to get this... Maybe that's what they're doing, Maybe they're dragging their feet so he doesn't come back to White Hart Lane in a City shirt.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just Daniel Levy being Daniel Levy.
Just playing the game.
Playing the game. And it's, what's weird? I don't know what your opinion is, but I've seen a lot of people give the opinion. I saw Rio give the opinion on 5. I saw Roy Keane give his opinion. And it's about this gentleman agreement thing. There's no gentleman agreements in football, surely. Like the same way Rio said to you.
Not only that, though.
It's got to be written.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he's not involved. It's got to be put in a contract. Roy Keane was saying the same thing. He said that Harry Kane and his advisor got to be so naive to go to football clubs who view you as an asset more first and foremost, because business, sports and business.
Imagine Fergie had one with Ronaldo. I'll let you go next season. Okay. That was a gentleman's agreement.
Don't know. Modern era.
I agree, and ultimately you want to put it in, but also clauses are not what people who play FIFA think they are. Like in Spain, yes, they are. They are a parcel of La Liga contracts. But even in Spain, they're not necessarily enforceable. You can enforce them, and you can go to court and you can have them enforced. But the period of time that takes usually is going to take you out of a transfer window. So if you try and put some litigation together, now let's say Harry Kane had a release clause and Daniel Levy went, nah. And he's like, well, I've got a contract clause. Cool, sue me. Take me to court. You go, okay, we will. And you go and put the paperwork in at court. You ain't getting an answer.
So what is it that Daniel Levy's holding out for? Because he offered him 100 mil. I've heard it was 100 mil plus Sterling and maybe even Laporte. What's that worth? What's that value? That's 200 million, probably.
It's 170 at least. It's got to be 200 million.
So what's Daniel's problem?
Well, probably one, I got to pay Sterling's wages and no.
Yeah.
And Laporte probably ain't on minimum wage. I would say, you got one thing's getting, swap deals are funky because you got to have the players to agree to go the other way because they go, nah. Then it's a problem, innit? And you can't force them. I don't know what he's holding out for. And that's why I was saying then, is it because Spurs are playing City first game of the season and Daniel Levy was like, listen, I can sell you, but you ain't fucking scoring in this house in blue.
Maybe, he's thought, you think he's that meticulous? Like, he would have realised.
Guess what? I'll sell you Monday. You can fuck off. I'm not selling you today. I'll sell you next week.
He will do, but he's cutting it short in terms of replacement now.
I also wouldn't play him against them this week either.
Harry Kane's not playing on the weekend. He's not been training, has he? Nah, he's definitely.
Maguire is. He's in the same team.
Harry Kane definitely refuses to play, even if they ask him.
Harry Kane's been injured for approximately half the season following the Euros and World Cups previous. So it's a hell of a gamble. £150 million for a player that has had injuries.
His ankles falls off.
He has injuries when he has to play following playing through the summer. I think he's a player that needs that time off, and 100 and whatever the hell it is million is a lot of cash.
But if Harry Kane goes and wins City the Champions League, they're laughing.
No, yeah. No, you can't put a price on that. All right, go on. Give us your top 4 or top 6, whatever you prefer, prediction then. Seeing as though we are about to start, let's get it on record as what you're thinking.
I'm going out on a limb. I think it's going to be Chelsea first. I personally believe United will finish above City. I have a sneaky feeling that it's going to take a while to bed in. I think stuff will go wrong at City. This is such wishful thinking, isn't it?
It's not that. It's actually I was going to do the same.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally sitting here thinking, I think United are second to Chelsea.
I don't think it's all going to be as rosy as you think for City. And I see. I think Ruben Diaz will have might mess it up.
Fundamentally alters the way they play.
Yeah, I think Ruben Diaz won't be as good as he was last season as well. So I believe it's going to be Chelsea. United will finish second. I think United will have a strong season in the Premier League. And I think third will be City and fourth will be Liverpool.
Not really any shocks massively in there, I wouldn't have thought.
The shocks would be people of
City fell off.
City being less than us.
But is there any team that could break into the top 4?
Leicester.
You think they will?
Don't believe in Tottenham or Arsenal.
Which is valid.
Don't believe in Everton either. Everton are just a blue Tottenham.
Absolutely hilarious. Like they fell off hardcore. I don't know what the hell happened at the end of the season last season.
Have you seen their attacking options? It's just a bunch of like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 wingers. They have no strikers. Like if you look at Everton, what they usually do.
I know the feeling.
They have a strong squad, right? They have a strong squad. Everton always look like they do. Their attacking options are what?
James, Richarlison.
Has Moise Kean gone back?
Calvert-Lewin.
Moise Kean's gone back. Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Damari Gray.
Calvert-Lewin's a 9. Let's have it right.
Yeah. I'm saying attacking options. Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, Iwobi. They've got like a bunch of. I think there's a few that I'm even missing out there. And it's like, where does it all fit? James Rodriguez. just got a bunch of, and you're looking at it, and they've got Doucouré and Alan in midfield. That's a pretty good midfield pivot you got there.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So where does it all go wrong for Everton?
Rafa Benitez.
No, but I'm saying it always does go wrong for
It does. I don't know what happened last season. Like, they were flying at the start of the season, and then they just unplugged and fucked right off. I don't know what happened.
They say that happens every single season to Leicester as well. Leicester usually finish quite terribly, but they start quickly. I think last season injuries killed Leicester, because what Leicester do is Leicester have this brilliant method of just sell and replace, and they've just been unbelievable at it for some reason. I don't know how they've been so efficient. They replaced Kante with Ndidi, and they've invariably seemed like they've replaced Ndidi with what's the midfielder from Lille?
Narrow down.
They've just signed Curtis. His name's just missed my out. But they've signed a really good young central defensive midfielder from Lille, who's just won the title in France. And they've just got this carousel of these sell supposedly their best players, and they end up replacing it well. Like they've signed that youngster Daka, who looks like he's just going to be another.
Oh, is it Babacar Samar?
Samara, yeah, something like that. But what I'm saying is, I'm just talking about their replacement. But what they don't do is they don't end up getting depth. So what happens is it's like 1 in, 1 out for Leicester. It's not one
That's
out,
why you
2
think
in.
they would look at their own academy a little bit and try and bring through some talent there, because there's not a lot of pressure on Leicester academy.
They've got a left back that's gone through the academy that's going to be a staple in Thomas or whatever his name is. But
good recruit. It is good recruiting.
Good recruiting, but it's what's been happening is they end up keep having a really good strong 11 or 12, but then when they get 2-3 injuries, they fall off the wayside. But this season they look like they have a bit of depth, which they've improved.
Yeah. So let us know your predictions in the comments. I agree with Ronaldo on my top 4 prediction. Really, I think it is wishful thinking, but I think City are going to be affected by embedding Grealish in. I think they should be less affected by the long season. Doesn't affect them as much because they rotate heavily. I think missing De Bruyne for a little bit will do bits for them. I think there is an over-reliance on Fernandinho in midfield. I do think they might switch Gundogan me to play there as well. Or you've got Rodri. Rodri's sick.
Rodri's good, man. City fans disrespect Rodri apparently, but
I just see something not quite meshing correctly. And it is wishful thinking. Yeah, I hope it don't work for him. In all likelihood, it probably will, but I hope it don't. So I kind of agree. I think Chelsea might run away with it. But I think United are going to take a leap forward, but not quite enough to be champions. It could be very interesting. And I don't think Liverpool are going to do anything.
no.
Olympics. It's over. Britain got their second best haul since Rio 2016. Equalled what we got at London 2012. Came 4th in the medal table behind USA, who had 113. Came behind China, who had 88. We actually got more medals in total, but less gold than Japan.
It goes off golds, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then we were 4th with 22 gold and 65 overall medals. So,
what do you think about this? The Olympics was held in Tokyo, right? And almost coincidentally, Japan gets like their best medal haul ever.
But that's what happens, isn't it? When you're the host city, I think you as a host nation, you make sure you're represented in every sport. And like if you're an athlete that does one of the events that's at an Olympic Games, those 6 to 7 years building up to it, because you're getting it well in advance, don't you? Can you imagine like London was happening in 4 or 5 years' time? The sort of conversations coaches would be having with your kid, your sister.
Yeah.
They'd just be focusing on London. So you would literally work towards that. Now, I'm not saying that people don't necessarily work towards the Olympics, but I bet there's an increase in funding.
Yes.
I bet there's an increase in interest. I bet there's an increase in all of the little things.
Isn't that the main reason why these cities or countries try and host? And
it costs billions to host. I read an article on it that no country actually benefits. They end up with usually I think London did all right out of it, but there's usually half of the facilities that you build go to waste. I think London sold all of those Olympic villages as apartments.
Yeah.
They repurposed the vast majority of the stadiums. I think there's still some random bits of stuff, because there's that much that you build. A lot of it just goes to waste. Most of the time, at Olympics, whether it's winter or summer, the stuff that they build for it, generally, at least half of it goes to waste. Like the World Cup that they had the Olympics and the World Cup in Brazil, didn't they, pretty much back to back?
So
They've just got stadiums all over the fucking jungle doing nothing. Just like, yeah, fuck that.
So why are cities so keen?
I don't know.
If
You're a mayor of a city and you bring the Olympics there, that's your thing, innit? Like, done.
I think, don't know, it might be the exposure and its sport, the kind of roll-on effect of the...
It bankrupts a lot of cities, hosting the Olympics. I read something about, when LA, like, in the 90s or 80s, hosted it. It didn't financially recover. Because, like, stadiums aren't cheap, are they?
Yeah.
Especially now, they're even more advanced than they ever were.
Is it also the fact that the cities that host the Olympic Games and these big sporting events are usually, especially economically, capital cities or the richer kind of countries within, richer kind of cities within the country, to the point where building stuff within those cities would be more expensive than most places anyway.
Yeah.
So
fucking imagine Tokyo.
Yeah, exactly. London, we know what London's like. So it's...
Los Angeles.
That's what I'm thinking, like LA. That's what I'm thinking. LA, the cost to build stuff in LA will just be...
This is 30 years ago, nearly 40 years ago that LA hosted it. And you just think, like, the cost of London, the Olympic Stadium, if West Ham didn't move into it, what is it? Did it hold 80,000 for the Olympics? Like, even that? And it seems like there wasn't necessarily a contingency in place. Like, there was a whole thing for getting West Ham in there. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we'll build it and afterwards you'll use it. It was kind of like, we'll build it, we'll find somewhere. Like, they didn't have a plan for it afterwards. And I think that's the issue with a lot of these facilities. They cost £1 billion. They cost so much money.
It's actually crazy.
And they build, there's not just one stadium gets built for the Olympics. There's a lot of stadiums get built for the Olympics.
And in the villages and then...
Yeah, usually like a bit of transport infrastructure gets done.
The tourism.
I mean, if you live in a city and it hosts the Olympics, you're buzzing because your business is probably going to improve. Your city's probably going to get some better infrastructure. There's tangible effects to living in a city that hosts the Olympics. But as a city, like, look how much the Metrolink costs. It's insane how much it costs to add like 2 more stops to it somewhere. Now, if Manchester hosted the Olympics, they're probably going to have to build a proper Olympic stadium somewhere. Where the fuck are they building that? There is no free space in Manchester to build a stadium.
There actually isn't. There's stuff being built in Manchester every day, something new.
Yeah, but not a stadium.
Like, they're making a ridiculous... They're building... What I've seen is a massive increase in Manchester in terms of student apartments. I feel like new apartment buildings are being built literally everywhere across Manchester. Yeah. And is it because more people are trying to live in Manchester than ever before? Or is it more people want to go study in Manchester than ever before? And is that going to result in Manchester becoming closer to London in terms of cost of living?
Well, where our office is, we're near Piccadilly, right? Yeah. I believe our landlord bought the building in the 70s and paid it off in the 80s. It's probably worth 6-7 million, I bet now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he gets in rent. Just trying to see how many businesses are in this building. It must be close to 50 grand a month in rent.
Yeah.
Right? If he paid it off in the 80s, man, what the hell is he doing? Just stone cold chilling. And it's a cheap place for rent, for a city centre office block. Like, I'm very happy with how much we pay in rent. And there's nothing anywhere near for how much we pay in rent. The rest of like Northern Quarter and stuff like that, the cost of rentals is insane. And you think, when he bought this was a bit of a crack den. In the 70s, this was rough. Northern Quarter was just rough.
That means he's a lot of investment now he's putting.
Yeah, he has. And he invests in it. You know, he does bits, but the regeneration of the area has just gone right past it. Now, if you'd have invested in Ancoats 20 years ago, you're probably not quite seen your money worth of it yet. But there was I remember as I was like leaving school and stuff like that, the apartments were going for like 30, 40 grand. They might be like 300 now.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them potentially a little bit more. So I think that regeneration doesn't stop. And if you look at the way London's gone, London's so vast, it kind of mind-boggling how dense. Like, yes, you've got your central London parts, but the suburb is still very, very city centrist. Manchester's a small city centre, you can walk right across it. You can walk across it in a day and not like need oxygen or anything. Like, it's not a trek.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a walk. It's a nice sized city.
Yeah.
You can go from one side to the other and it's fine. Greater Manchester's obviously a little bit bigger. But I reckon inside that entire M60 could end up to the level of density that London is. You know, but it might just be a bit slower because it's not a capital city.
True. We'll have to see how it goes, but hopefully Manchester stays cheap.
Manchester's it's affordable. I don't think it's cheap. It's affordable. I think you get good value for money.
I don't think it's cheap. I think people just do it the comparative thing between us and London.
Us and London's no comparison, but if you compare us to Burnley, like it's not cheap, but it's affordable, and you know, hopefully it continues.
Someone
to
sent me
stay
the other
like
day like an apartment for £1,100 a month in London, and then an apartment in Manchester you can get for £1,100 a month. It's like chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I had an apartment 12 years ago. It was an Urban Splash one, which are the like quite fancy developers around town, aren't they? It was a penthouse one. We was paying £800 a month for it. It was gangster, but like £800 a month in London, I'm in a crack den.
Probably even worse than that.
I mean, £800 a month now on rent. I don't think it actually is that much. I think that's quite standard in it on rent now for Manchester.
Yeah, that's why usually people move out when the money's their income's heavy, or they've got someone to share it with.
Statman Dave, the place he had in London when we first met he was paying £800 a month and he had a room in a house, a room. I was like, shit, my first apartment was £800 a month and it was baller. It was proper, it was like
I've been in a house/apartment in Westminster, which is, you know, like West Posh London. It's like, well, apparently the apartment was like worth $1 million and it was an absolute...
It's nothing.
Nothing, 2-bedroom.
Not even like high spec or anything.
Not high spec, not modern.
So that was the good thing about the Urban Splash one. It was all top spec stuff. It was like really well finished. It was nice. It was big as well. It was like, I think this upstairs office is probably like 2,000 square foot. It was a similar size. It was mint. Fucking love living there. But yeah. Anyway, you don't want economic advice, especially of us two. But cheers for tuning in. As usual, get your predictions in for the top 4. Any Olympic talk, I guess, and also make sure to go and check out manscaped.com, Fixture List 20 for 20% off and free shipping. Your balls will thank you. Everyone needs clean spuds, man. Make sure to subscribe. We've got the preview coming tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And fucking Premier League's back. It feels like a blink since it finished.
Do you know why it's felt like a blink? Because there's so much been going on in the summer. You had the Euros, you had the Olympics, it felt like it hasn't really stopped. It hasn't felt like much of a break. And if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, I don't think the break between seasons are that big in football anyway.
Yeah, especially you probably get 2-3 weeks off.
Not compared to the American sports anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you got to get started pre-season. And as like within a week of starting pre-season, they're playing games. Like they're playing games almost immediately. There's no like long build up into fitness. It's just like blah 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 game.
It's actually insane because those sports I'm talking about, they have like 4 or 5 months off seasons. You know?
Yeah, wild.
On that kind of cash.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Anyway. Right, cheers for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe as always. Turn the notifications on, and I will see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.